Hello and welcome to another episode of Toxic Love Transformation. I'm your host, Stephanie McPhail. And today I'm really excited to be able to talk you through the phases that we go through when we start healing from toxic relationships. And the cool thing is that the more you know what these phases are, the better chance of you taking action before you waste any more time in the process. So let's dive right in and get right into the different phases. And if anything resonates for you, feel free to let me know in the comments that this is resonating for you. So number one, first step when we are in a toxic relationship is we need to, number one, recognize that something isn't right. Maybe we are noticing them say bad things about us. Maybe they are checking in while we're out over and over again, so we can't actually have fun with our friends. Maybe there's been physical abuse. Maybe there's been name calling. Maybe we're feeling like they're being sneaky, but we're recognizing that something is off. And so that is the very first step in realizing or going through the phases of healing. So number one, recognize. Number two, once we realize that something is going on, we go into research mode. So we are strong, independent people. We are very smart. And one of the first things we do is we start researching. So we go over to Google, our best friend. We do a whole bunch of research and we become experts in narcissism, in people that have psychopathy, sociopaths, borderline personality disorder, you name it. We research it. We get to know a lot of different information about what is going on. And we know everything about our partner. What are they doing wrong? What is wrong with them? So we spend a lot of time researching. This, I'm going to be really honest with you, is where a lot of people get stuck. And I don't know if that's something that you've gotten stuck with. I was stuck there for a long time because I was like just trying to download all this information, because like if I could just figure out what is going wrong with them, then maybe I can make things better. And that takes us directly into step three. Step three is the addiction phase. Step three is where we try to explain to our partner what they're doing wrong. We've done all this research. We have all this information in our head. And now we want to try and prove that we can figure this out. We want to feel like we've not wasted time. So we try to explain to our partners, hey, if you just did these things, if we worked together, if we went to therapy, if you worked on these things, then things would get better. And we get addicted to it. Now, sometimes we get all this information, we learn that our partner has an addiction, and then we become addicted to the problems our partner has. And this phase alone we can get stuck here as well. Sometimes even after the relationship is over, there still is this pull of maybe I should have stayed longer. Maybe I should have worked harder. Maybe he really figured it out this time. And I say he because we work mostly with women, but of course it could go either direction. Maybe I could have done things differently. I wasted so much time. We have all these different feelings that are hurting us. And because of that fear and that avoidance of pain, of changing, we get stuck in that addiction phase. And I was stuck there for a long time because I kept throwing him out, letting him back in. And every time I would let him back in, he would show me again his true colors. And then I would start the process all over again. So then it would be back to like, recognize there's a problem. Let me start researching again. Let me get him a therapist. Let me do all the things for him to focus on what he's doing wrong. And I'm going to say this too, this might feel a little bit uncomfortable, but another reason why we get stuck here is because of avoidance. We don't want to have all these big feelings on ourselves. So we focus on the thing that's causing us pain. We also want the thing that's causing us pain to make us feel better. We can't do that. That doesn't work. But that's what addiction does. It gets us sucked in. And that's why so often people get stuck here, because addiction, the brain, the dopamine that comes from when we're trying to get that little piece, that little breadcrumb of letting them show us, or hoping that they will see what they're doing wrong so that we're not wrong in choosing them. And that little piece of them maybe giving us a little breadcrumb. We're looking for that attention. We're looking for something to show that we chose a good partner, we saw their potential, and they're actually doing the things that we would hope they would do in order to change. And that little piece, that breadcrumb that we're looking for, gives us enough of those feel-good chemicals in our brain to keep coming back for more. So we actually, those little pieces is what we get addicted to. Like, just show me something, give me a little bit. And I've had clients that have, they've driven by their ex's house, they've called them over and over again, they've sent messages, they say they don't want to be in the relationship, they don't want to continue with how things are going, but they still keep allowing this person to come back in their lives, and they still keep trying to spend their time and energy explaining to the other person what they're doing wrong. And you'll find that this is a waste of your time and energy, because that person does not want to hear what they did wrong. They don't care most of the time. Someone who is a narcissist will always blame you for everything that they did wrong. So you can keep trying to explain that they've done something wrong, but they're not going to admit it because it's not actually their fault. So you getting all riled up is not going to help the situation at all. It just gives them more fuel, and then they can use that addiction that you're having, that you're noticing, to try to prove that they're right and you're the one who's acting ridiculous. So they're very good at manipulating it. And when we're stuck in this phase, we're not seeing things as clearly as we could, because we're so focused on trying to fix that other person and avoiding the big feelings that we have. The next phase is acceptance, is realizing, I understand that this is how this person is. Maybe, again, the person could be an alcoholic, they could be gambling, they could have their own addictions, they could be a narcissist, they could be a sociopath, psychopath, whatever it is, but accepting that this is who they actually are. And now when we're in that phase, that is where, like, we've done all this research, we've seen how things are, and we accept that things will not change. This could be, again, while we're going through the divorce process. It can be after the divorce process or the breakup. It can be at any point during it. But that acceptance piece is really important to realize, because when we do that, we stop putting so much power into the other person. I had someone the other day that said, I know this relationship isn't good. I know it's not healthy for me, but I need them to discard me in order to end the relationship. So think about that for a second. They're giving their power away. So even though they're saying intellectually, I know this is wrong, they're still hoping the other person, they're giving their power to the other person to end the relationship. Very disempowering. They're not really at a place of acceptance yet. They're still putting all the blame and all the power into the person who's causing them all of this pain. So acceptance is a part to realize, I can't change them. I'm not going to keep wasting my time and energy trying to make them into who I'd like them to be. And I'm going to accept them for who they are and decide what I'm going to do from there. And then the next phase is the accountability and support. So when people come to us, they've done therapy, they've done all those things, and that's a really great place to be, is having that type of accountability, or that kind of support, right? Is making sure that we understand how we got here, how we started the process, maybe where we've repeated patterns in old relationships. We understand that a little bit more. And then when people come to us, they're like, okay, I get all of that, but now I want to do something different. So I need accountability to do something different. I need support, and I need the tools to know exactly what I need to do in order to now create something different. So again, I understand it because I've researched it, I've done the therapy, I've done all those things. But then in order to create something different, that's where the accountability and support comes in. Now, the cool thing is that we can decide at any point to get the right accountability and support to make the changes. If we decide really quickly when we recognize there's a problem, if we decide right there that we're going to get accountability and support, we're going to go through those other phases much more quickly. Like, all right, I got a little information. I know this isn't good. I'm going to move on. A healthy person is going to recognize that something's wrong, and then they're going to end and move on. Someone who is still trying to get the other person to see what they did wrong in that addiction phase, they're going to keep trying and trying and trying. But if you have that support in any parts of those phases, you're going to be able to work through that phase more quickly, because you're going to have the right tools and knowledge to be able to make a different choice for yourself. And of course, as coaches, as a mentor, it's really about making sure we help you achieve goals. So we know that you're smart. We know that you can figure out, and you probably know some of the right things to do, but you haven't been able to implement it yourself. That's where people feel stuck. And again, that's where people feel those big feelings of avoidance, because it really hurts and feels really uncomfortable to go through all of this stuff. And that's why we keep repeating those patterns, because we don't really fully feel it and we don't really know what we need to do differently. So if we don't get to this next phase of the accountability and support, then even though we have all the knowledge and have all the information as to why we got here, chances are pretty good we're going to get into another relationship and then start the process all over again, choosing an unhealthy partner, and then having to go through the different phases all over again. So the cool thing is that, again, like I said, you can decide at any point where you want to actually get the support. You don't have to wait until you go through every single one of these phases in order to start making the changes that you'd like to make. So healing is possible. I don't care how long you've been going through those phases. I don't care how long you felt stuck. I don't care how long you've avoided all of these big feelings. The important thing to know is that it is not only possible for you to create something different, but if I can do it, because I'm not any more special than anybody else, because I did not think that I could do this. I would have never in a million years been able to guess that I would be here on the other side helping support other people to heal. And I'm not a guru. So if I can do it, that means you can do it, because I didn't do it on my own. It's when I admitted that I couldn't do it on my own and I took action to get that accountability and support, that's when I was able to make the changes that I was looking for. So accountability and support, getting action. So again, if you can, at any point, if you take action on getting that right accountability and support, you're going to be able to make those big changes that you're looking to make, and then move on to create your best life. Because healing is not linear. Healing has some little bumps in the road. But if we have someone who can point out where we're making mistakes, then we can work through those steps much more quickly and not waste any more time. I don't know about you, but time's a pretty precious commodity to me, especially as I'm getting older, because I don't know about you, but I feel like time keeps getting faster and faster. It's not slowing down. Time just keeps going. And so I don't want to waste time on things that I don't know much about. So for the things that I don't know much about, I want to make sure that I have someone that can help me go through it more quickly, so that I don't have to try to guess what I need to do, since I already can admit I don't know. Have someone that's an expert so that they can work through it with me. So I hope this helps. Again, remind yourself that healing is possible at any time. Wherever you are in the process, if you're feeling like you'd like to get that extra support, feel free to reach out to me. We are here to support you wherever you are at. We are here to meet you. But hopefully this helps you and helps you go through the process at a quicker rate, so you don't waste any more time. So on that note, thank you for joining us. And as always, you are way stronger than you realize. See you next